Chapter 46. Her high heels click-clacked in the rhythm throughout the massive interior of the Ever-TARDIS. The Time Lady wound round the black chrome console as she peered intensely at the time rotor. It was undulating in a dark crimson glow, pulsing rhythmically. She thought she heard the faint echo of a cloister bell, so Deceit elegantly slid a lever forward with a slender, snake-like charm. Around the control room appeared 10 tanks. They were massive steel containers that looked as if made to hold giant aquatic life for display purposes. Deceit pressed another button. The containers fell forward at a 45-degree angle with tremendous grinding sound, and, in unison, the steel screens retracted from the containers. Inside were families. 10 sets of families. From 2667, going back in century intervals to 1767. Deceit smiled at herself from one side of her mouth. Some TARDISes had eyes of harmony to power them individually, the newer models. Older time capsules had to rely on the power of the main eye of harmony attached to the infinity matrix of Gallifrey, which, unfortunately, meant that most of those were dead in the water. Sid rats were different, of course. Deceit briefly remembered several lifetimes back when she had been someone else entirely, and how she had met the paranormal investigator in the early 20th century, Jack Valentine. Upon finding him, he was suffering amnesia and in the most catatonic state brought about by an excess of Artron energy. The man had been doing some serious time traveling, perhaps even more than a damn Time Lord, as if the paranormal investigator had been floating in a bare temporal vortex for eons, or been born there, or died there, or both. Regardless, he had dragged with him, through countless stellar millennia, chunks and bits of Sid Rat. Poor man, Deceit thought privately. Of course, without him, none of this would have been possible. She smiled. The renegade Time Lady started to consider how Jack Valentine had ended up on Vrem when she noticed a temporal power coupling fluctuation in the engine. The engine, of course, for an Ever-TARDIS, in this case, was a group of 10 families, separated by exactly 100 years, ripped from time in order to create a void or a paradox. Deceit cared not, for both sparked negative time energy. 10 stolen, influential, powerful families, stretching across a millennium, ripped from time, their absences creating a perpetual flow of excess void power that grows in strength from the future, stretching back to the past, a temporal wave arc, small at first, then gaining enough vortex energy to become, literally, the opposite of an eye of harmony. One of her precious families was aberrating. It was the Rothlanders. The Time Lady slowly click-clacked across the enormous black and crimson chrome control room with the Rothlanders container, stolen cargo from 2367. Deceit growled at first. Then the growl slowly grew into an ear-piercing scream, which shattered 2 of the glass chronometers on the podium. Inside the 2367 display container was a pair of humans, Mr. and Mrs. Rothlanders. The problem was that they were glowing a faint iris color and phasing in and out of existence like a draining light bulb. Aside from that, there were supposed to be 2 children with them, a young girl and a boy. Where the hell were they? The Time Lady never stopped screaming, eyes bulging out of her head as she pounded buttons so hard she dented the black metal on the console. Deceit yelled as she slammed around the instruments and shouted. Then she stopped, breathing hard, as she noticed the readout of her Ever-TARDIS stated that the power levels were down to 94%. Just from missing 2 children? How the hell had this happened? This was unacceptable. Finally, Deceit's call was answered. A neon amethyst holographic screen appeared, showing the slender man dressed in an impeccable orchid suit. What? How in the seven hells did Traveler get a lock on the Rothlanders in 2367? I specifically set up a... Doesn't matter. Deceit flashed a fury across her delicate features. No, there's not a chance. The violet stranger shook his head. Purge is pissed. Royally. You mean Traveler's stupid TARDIS? Perfect is not stupid. Perfect is a living, breathing time ship that you repeatedly steal, take over, or destroy. The Travelers, Mr. Blue, the Man in Red, Professor Green, and Black, they thought you were because of Purge, and fell into one of your more impressive traps. Granted, yet Purge feels a violent hatred for you, and I don't know why. She's gunning for you, Deceit. She's gunning hard. Purge is not, and never will be, powerful enough to stand against an ever TARDIS, Deceit announced triumphantly. Granted, the Traveler in the purple rolled his eyes. Yet, you must consider how smart Purge is. The time machine knows a full frontal assault against you isn't possible. Can't storm the castle with insufficient weaponry. So, she's going to chip away at your infrastructure to weaken you. In this case, she's going to take out Mr. Blue all over the damn cosmos, and through the millennium of time to find the righteous moments, to intersect and sap you away from the negative vortex energy. Deceit gritted her teeth and punched a hole through the time router. How are the new feet? Deceit looked up, her eyes glowing red. They're coral-imitated flesh surrounded by a metal bone. How do you think they are? Sorry, but please, look at the bright side. The renegade time lady shook her head angrily. What? The violet stranger cocked his head, eyes peering as he focused. Traveler presumes you're dead. Deceit grinned like a shark.